Urbandale police have identified the man who they say drowned last week in Lake Hallis. Officers say 53-year-old Eric Dingus of Des Moines was recovered from the lake. Investigators say right now there's no evidence of foul play and the investigation is ongoing.
Operations are now back to normal at Mercy One Medical Plaza in Ankeny after an odor from a roofing project led to the facility being evacuated yesterday. Ankeny police say roofing adhesive spread through the building's HVAC system, prompting crews to check for hazardous materials, but investigators found nothing toxic out there. Now, 8 people were evaluated and 2 went to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
The United Auto Workers is pushing back on John Deere's proposed contract extension. The union wants a larger general wage increase while keeping workers' lump sum payments scheduled for this year. It also wants limits on outsourcing. Deere says the union's proposal would cost the company about $500 million and says it remains committed to what it calls its industry-leading extension offer to provide certainty for employees.
The Iowa DOT is looking for public feedback on plans to rebuild Highway 69 or Southeast 14th Street between the Des Moines River and Scott Avenue. This project would widen the road, and add a shared use trail through part of Pete Crivero Park. The DOT says less than an acre of parkland would be affected, with a few trees removed, but no park amenities affected. Comments are being accepted through today. It's now 7:33 going on 7:34, and as we get into the second half of the year, we're now getting an update from the Des Moines International Airport on its new terminal.
Yeah, construction has progressed quite a bit since we last checked in January. Local 5's Emma Stroner is here and caught up with the airport on what they're focusing on right now. Emma, what's the latest?
Well, they say the small details is what they're focusing on right now. Spokesperson Sarah Hoodger says the structural pieces are all done. Now it's getting all the little things in place, like tile and restaurants and decorations to make the new terminal look more lively. They're still on track to open those 6 new gates this upcoming January. That's about 5 months from now. In total, there's going to be 13 new gates. They're all set to be completely open by 2030. That will come along with restaurants, more places to shop, and updated baggage handling systems. Now, all of that was projected to cost $557 million. Hoodger says to this date, they're still within that budget. She says the biggest challenge has been all the travelers coming in and out of the airport with all this construction going on.
We have a lot of construction going on, a lot of different things are happening, and we're doing all this while still being an operating airport. So there have been a couple challenges, a lot of info we've needed to get out to the public, like this road's now closed, the rental car center has now moved, so different little pieces that all contribute to opening day.
And on that opening day, it will be an overnight switch from the old terminal to the new one. There will be one less flight out from the old terminal and then the one first flight into the new terminal. Hoodger says the airport is teaming up with Catch Des Moines to staff volunteers at the information desk so they can help travelers if that might be confused or lost. Now, we also know it might be a busier weekend. We have the National Balloon Classic, the AAU Junior Games in Hinterland, but overall this summer, travel has looked mostly the same as last year. Hoodger says both this June and last June, they've looked completely the same. And this July, there's just been about 3% more travelers. Joseph?
All right, Emma, thank you. It's now 7:35. The Southeast Polk School Board has now approved the site for a brand new elementary school in Pleasant Hill. This school will be built on Northeast Rising Sun Drive, with construction set to begin next summer. The district says the new school will help ease overcrowding at 4 Mile and Clay elementary schools. The students are expected to move in for the 2029-2030 school year.
This morning, we have new details on the University of Iowa's Center for Intellectual Freedom. The center is putting most of its work on hold until 2028 as leaders focus on hiring a permanent director and building out the curriculum. The center opened this spring, but enrollment has been low, even as a new state law will require students to complete 6 credit hours through the center in order to graduate.
As we're looking at hiring a permanent executive director, and we're developing everything else will be on pause with the exception of developing the speaker series. And we just feel that that's the most appropriate direction at this particular time.
The state has set aside $2 million for the center, which is now expected to reopen specifically in the fall of 2028.
The Iowa Department of Education is awarding more than $2 million in grants to help create therapeutic classrooms across the state. 10 school districts, including Winterset, Boone, Oskaloosa, and Tama, will use the funding to support students whose needs may not be met in a traditional classroom setting. The grants will help create 19 new classrooms and expand mental and behavioral health support.
Hinterland Music Festival is bringing thousands of people to St. Charles this weekend, but the impact goes beyond the stage. Local businesses say the crowds make this one of their busiest times of the year. Local 5's JD Snover shows us how owners are preparing for and benefiting from the festival rush.
Cars roll through on the covered bridges scenic byway every day. But for Joe Nelson at the Tiger Lily Cafe, most of the people who actually stop in are a little closer to home.
But it's pretty tame and mundane unless we're handling other events.
But not this weekend.
I mean, you're talking St. Charles being a town of 800 people, so shoving 25,000 3/4 of a mile away is absolutely insane for us.
Hinterland Music Festival draws people from around the world. For local businesses like Nelson's, that can only mean one thing: get ready.
It's a gambit. I've kissed my family and I've said I'll see you guys Monday afternoon. That's about it.
With attendees heading to the grounds later in the day, Nelson says the biggest crowds often come before the music starts.
We're expecting pretty big crowds. It's usually all breakfast into lunch, and then it kind of dies down and we get tricklers throughout the day, but it's pretty busy straight through.
He's hoping some visitors become regulars year over year, as he's seen before.
People from California, Texas, Canada. One of my favorite guys, Jackson from Nova Scotia, has come through since we met him a couple years ago.
Next door at Wayward Saints Gift Shop.
With our gift shop, it's kind of hard to buy some of this stuff. We do offer some shipping.
Ben Berenger knows most festival goers aren't packing extra room in their cars, but for a small business, exposure can be just as valuable as the sales.
This time of year, about 15 to 30 people through the shop over an average week. So it'll be a lot busier as far as just volume of people coming through.
JD Snover, Local 5 News.